What's up guys, this is Void of Dust Gaming, your channel for fresh Arena of Valor content. And we are playing in the patch 37 update. That means that 5 heroes have been adjusted because of general gaming issues. One of them has already been featured on this channel. I'm talking about Zengil, who has been given a new ult. And the next champion that we're going to address in another video is Baldum. A really solid tank that had some flaws, at least when you are asking the game designers. They found his ultimate way too hard to counter for enemy teams, therefore they changed the whole setting. Now it's not a template that you can just throw around anymore, but instead you guys are going to get some kind of cone shape, and it's going to be single target in terms of the targeting, but the ultimate is still an ult that's going to act on a local basis where it hits, so you can still affect additional enemies in addition to the one that you've been targeting, as long as they stand close by, because you still got this kind of area of effect. That said, I want to focus on the build at first, as I always do in my videos. And as you can see, I've taken some of the suggestions that the game has been giving me with the equipment. As you can see, this is going to be heavily armored in terms of we are just using tank items and the support item, as well as some boots. I always take the Gilded Greaves with my tank heroes if there is not massive attack damage, but usually there will be enough CC so that the Gilded Greaves are justified. In the enchantment section, I think you are going to have a great time using this one here, the Explosive Shield. I think it's one of the best enchantments that you can get for tanks, because it makes you even more durable in addition to all the items that you've chosen. And then we're going with Avata here for the regrowth with improved healing and shield effects, and we're going with River Treader as well, because they also have taken the 18% armor increase that you have been given by the passive beforehand, before the new patch has been released. So I was wondering if Baldum can still be a quite tanky upfront hero that you can play quite aggressively, but you guys are going to see for yourself in the upcoming video. In terms of Arcana, I've taken my so-called AD tank build that is 10 times Indomitable for some max HP armor and attack speed. We're going with Benevolence for an additional 450 points of health. And I'm going with Skewer because I just like this kind of build where you are actually able to be a little bit more offensive because you've got some armor pierce. But we're going to see for ourselves if this is still something that you can take, because the whole gaming system has changed. So there is now a lot of suggestion if you take a hero, and you don't really have to have all these different adjustments anymore. And I really like the new appearance that you've got everything in one screen. Makes it a lot easier for me to talk about it. So this is the build. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please reconsider to hit the subscription button as well as the notification bell to never miss any of my videos. And if you like this kind of content, a like is highly appreciated, because it helps me just to grow my channel a little bit better. So now let's head over to the gameplay, because enough talking in the intro. So be prepared and have fun. Alright, so here we go with all the lovely improvements that the battlefield has seen after the update. Some of the graphics have been enhanced, and a lot of gaming adjustments have been made in order to make the game even more convenient than it was before. So there are new target indicators, there are now damage indicators when you hit towers, for example, or the core, and a lot has been smoothened out a bit. So now I think the game is even smoother than before, and that's something that I think we can all acknowledge and enjoy. So talking about the game, as you can see, I am here with one of my mates, the Hayate player Doctor. He is someone who is featured on my channel quite often because he's someone I like to play with. Most of the times we do get some matches in a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, I don't have that much time in usual time frames, so usually it's quite late when I start to play, but he had the opportunity to play with me because he's just had some time. So we are on the dual lane, Hayate and Baldum, so I think that's actually a quite strong setup because Hayate is still one of the best, if not the best AD carry in the game still. He hasn't been touched by a lot of changes, and therefore he can maintain to be one of the strongest AD carries still after a lot of months have passed. The enemy has Aram, so I think that's basically a one-trick pony. You just have to be careful about all the ult setup and things, but there shouldn't be that much to be careful about if the ult has already been used. In terms of the jungler, we have Wukong, who has been seeing an improvement, not because of some patches, but somehow people have started to realize how good all the critical damage is and how fast he can just deal with squishier enemies such as mages or marksmen. I think in the Asian servers he is even considered to be one of the top tiers on the top lane. That said, you have to build him on a crit build because otherwise he's not able to pull that off. In the mid lane, we've got Tulun, still a really strong mage. I think he's going to have some adjustments in one of the upcoming patches, making him a little bit less strong because he is just so mobile. He's got great damage, he's got a great ultimate, and therefore he's one of the best mages in the game so far. And on the top lane, we've got Zenial. As I said, he just received a buff, and I think he's actually quite good on playing the top lane if you want to really field Zenial, because it gives him the opportunity to just help in team fights where you are not having enough numbers by using his ultimate, giving some needed health to the team fight composition if you have already been stuck in a team fight for a couple of seconds. And therefore he is actually becoming a bit better, but as I said in my video and in my verdict, I don't really consider him to be one of the strongest supports or top laners after the update, but you guys are going to see for yourself. If you want to watch the video, just check out my channel in the video section, and the Zenial video will be one of the latest that I have released on this channel. On the enemy side, we've got Tulun, I think, in the jungle, so we both have a Tulun on each side. Tulun is also a really strong jungler. Oh no, he's the mid laner. We've got Bright in the jungle. I don't think that Bright is actually one of the strongest junglers right now. He has his moments, but I think there are way better heroes if you really want to master the jungle in the actual current meta. And we've got Tara on the top lane, who is a really strong and durable tank. I have just released a video featuring Tara lately, and I think I went 11-0 or something like that because she can just build so tanky and there's not really that much that you can do against her. She doesn't have great damage, but that is completely outperformed by the tankiness that she brings to the battlefield. So even if you are not the main damage dealer, your sustain is just so good with her ult and the tank items that she can live long enough to even whittle down other tanks, because her damage just gets more consistent the longer she stays in the battle. And that said, she can actually pull that off because she is just one of the hard tanks or the true tanks in this game. So this was the ult. As you can see, that was a single target, but there was the area of effect where the ultimate is coming down. Nice double kill for my team. As you can see, we are already sitting on a 12 versus 4, so I would say right now we've got the game in our hands, at least at minute number 6. And now we're closing in on the first tower here. That is going to be first blood on the tower, I suppose. Yeah, that was the first tower that has been destroyed in the game, and now we're dealing with the Abyssal Dragon, because as you can see, there's no one to contest it, and therefore we are going to have an easy time to take it and get some nice damage boost for our team. Not really entirely sure what Toulon was about to do in the enemy jungle. At least the enemies were highly questioning his performance and telling him that he needs to pause and go home, and they sent him back to base. That was way too aggressively what I was doing. I don't even know what I was thinking, but that was completely self-suicide with a jump right into the enemy forces. Not really that much that I could do there, but I just wanted to try out how tanky I am with my ultimate being up, and yeah, not tanky enough is the answer to that question. So I think the main thing is now to focus on the outcome, get some towers, and really start pushing the mid lane. As you can see, Bright has finally made it to the top lane, and with the help of Tara, they had a good time on getting Zenial. I think he was playing a little bit too aggressive under the tower, because otherwise that should not really have been a problem. I mean, even if Bright is in ultimate state, he should not have sufficient damage to kill Zenial under tower. But he is already starting to complain about our map awareness, and I think that might be the right call, because we were a little bit off. And yeah, here we go. So ult has been touching Bright. We're still fighting with the two of us. Now Toulon tries to come in. A lot of damage. There is a kill. There is another kill, and unfortunately we're not able to whittle them down. As I said, Tara is really tanky right now, and with the backup of Toulon, they had no problem on getting us. Tara is already sitting on a really comfortable 3-0, but without any proper help of the team, I think that was actually quite clear that this fight was about to end in this kind of way, because we were fighting 2 versus 3. Aram is not looking too great with a 0-7 performance right now, but still the enemies have had a small comeback, so now it's 15 versus 10, but the game is still in our hands and it's still winnable. But I would say we really had to focus on what's going on in this fight, and Hayate with his true damage is just so painful for me. And with all the changes that have been done to Baldum, I think that was also the case before the changes, because Hayate with his true damage is just the right answer to tanks, and with his fast movement he's also the right answer to a lot of mages out there in the game. He doesn't have a problem with either of them, so he is an AD carry that you really need to focus some resources on in order to get him. That said, we need to focus on our tower game right now, because as you can see, the enemies have also been closing in. So the way to the top tower is actually, from the top lane to the core is not that far away anymore. I think that though was actually quite nice. So now Hayate can try to get Tara, and I tried it all. I tried to put everything into that team fight. And now I was just baiting Bright into another bloodbath here for our Hayate, so well played from him. But I think without being the bait, that would not have been so easy. And now we're dominating the game, and we're completely dominating the top lane. That's not really that much that they can do against us. So now this is a tower that should not stand any longer here. I mean, Hayate tries to defend it, but there is another wave to be pushing into the tower, and I think it's just one shot from the cannon minion. But the enemies have now started to focus on the top lane tower in order to make our game a little bit more difficult. So we are starting to move back and forth between the lanes to try to find an opening here. But we can't really get it that easily. But as you guys know, Arena of Valor is sometimes just a battle about one single team fight. If that team fight is won, even if you are behind, it changes the complete outcome of the battle. So as you can see right now, Aram is about to join the team fight, not really backed up by any of her teammates. Now I'm using my ultimate here in order to pin down Hayate, throwing things around, try to use every single thing that I've got, and I was able to make it out alive. So here is a double kill for Toulon. Hayate has received another kill, so things are looking quite bright. Now I've got the Mail of Pain, so finally Hayate is going to get something back in return whenever he pumps a shot into me. Our Hayate is about to push the bottom lane tower, and now we kind of turned the tide of the battle a little bit, because now the gap between their kills and our kills have become a little bit larger again, and we have received the first tower on the way to the core on the bottom lane, well pushed by our Hayate. I think he was completely uncontested here by the tower. At least he had the time to go in, and now it's just a question of time. And basically it's just we need one single push in order to win that game, one single team fight. Holy Dragon has been defeated, so that is really important. So now we do get the damage buff here, and I'm starting to zone the enemies. Can't really do too much here because I'm already quite low, so I need to be careful about that. Our Hayate is closing in. Enemies are a little bit off, so there's an enemy, there's an enemy, there's an enemy. Good call from Xennial. That was well played. Really good ult here, because it gave me back some life as well as some life to my teammates. And as you can see, the enemy team is now down to one single player defending the base, and as we're closing in onto different lanes, the mid lane and the top lane, we now have the tower, and we've got 2 cannon minions, and it's just this one little last fight with another throw from me, and this is game. So as a verdict, after playing the new Baldum with the new ult and the new mechanics, they've taken away some slows, they've taken away some CC from Baldum, who was actually quite strong. I would even consider Baldum to be a support hero that would have been able to take the top lane as well. But I don't really see that much of a difference in terms of the playstyle. You can still play him quite aggressively, but that was the first single fight that I've played with the new changed Baldum so far. But I would say I didn't really play him that different, and it didn't feel awkward because of the changes. As soon as you realize that the ult is a little bit different than before, but it's still a great hero, and I think he can have great games still with a changed ult. So that's my verdict. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys are having a great evening, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and bye bye.